was a quiet evening, and two friends sat together talking about life. One of them looked at the other with warmth and curiosity, wanting to ask some questions, but due to lack of time, she had to leave. They decided to meet at another time.
I've watched you over the years. I remember when things were so hard for you. Your family life was a struggle. You barely had peace. But now, you're glowing. You live with joy, with peace. You're truly blessed. How did that happen? What changed?
There was a time when my life felt like it was falling apart. Every day was a battle, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I tried to hold everything together, but deep inside, I was tired, broken. Let me tell you about my routine. I stayed out late at parties, barely slept, and couldn't wake up in the morning. I'd rush to work, exhausted, and sometimes ended up sleeping at my desk. After work, it was straight to the club with friends, and the cycle just kept repeating. I was running on empty, and eventually I lost my job. Then one day, I ran into an old friend. She looked at me, not with judgment, but with compassion, and invited me to her church. In the depths of my depression, with no one to turn to and emptiness all around me, I chose to do something, anything, to fill the silence. So I accepted her invitation and went to church. I didn't expect much. I thought it would just be another place, another hour to kill. But the moment I stepped in, something felt different. It was warm, not just the room, but the people. The worship started, and for the first time in a long time, I felt my heart soften. The words they sang about grace, healing, and love, they weren't just lyrics, they felt like they were meant for me. And then the message began. The pastor spoke like he knew exactly what I was going through, not in a judgmental way, but with understanding. He talked about how God sees the broken, the tired, the lost, and calls them his own. I couldn't hold back the tears. It was like God had been waiting for me all along. I decided to go to church again the next Sunday. I didn't know what I was looking for, but something inside me craved more. And again, it was the same amazing experience. Warm smiles, heartfelt worship, and a sense of peace I couldn't explain. That day, the pastor preached about the Proverbs 31 woman. He spoke about a woman of strength, dignity, purpose, and faith. A woman who rises early, cares deeply, works diligently, and fears the Lord. I sat there in silence, listening to every word, wondering if I could ever become a woman like that. For so long I had believed I was the opposite, broken, lazy, lost, and unworthy. But something shifted in me that day. I began to realize that God wasn't looking for perfection. He was looking for surrender. And maybe, just maybe, He could rebuild me into something beautiful. Because of my love for fashion, I decided to start a clothing business. No investors and very little money, but I had faith. And for the first time, that felt like enough. I prayed over every decision, every design, every small step I took. I started by selling to friends and church members, just a few pieces here and there. There were days I doubted myself, days when sales were low and I wanted to give up. But I remembered the woman in Proverbs 31. She worked with willing hands, clothed her household in strength, and did not give in to fear. That kept me going. Little by little, doors started to open. People noticed the love and care I put into every piece. Customers came back, word spread. I decided to live the life of a Proverbs 31 woman, not because I had it all together, but because I believed God could shape me into someone new. She wasn't just a woman who worked hard. She was a woman of purpose, strength, wisdom, and faith. I wanted to be like that. I wanted my life to reflect dignity, not shame, grace, not guilt, faith, not fear. So I began walking with God daily, seeking Him in prayer, leaning on His word, and asking Him to mold my heart. I started building my business with integrity, loving people around me with intention, and carrying myself with quiet confidence. Not because I was perfect, but because I was being transformed. And what started as a simple act of faith became something bigger than I imagined.
To all the women out there, let me share a glimpse of this woman's daily life. She's the woman who wakes up early to juggle work, family, and 100 unseen responsibilities. She plans meals, checks homework, manages emails, and runs her own business. After finishing her chores at home, she arrives at the office early before anyone else gets there. As she drives, worship songs play in her car, setting the tone for her day. She's wise with her finances, creative in her environment, and intentional in every decision. Alongside running her clothing business, she also launched a real estate venture. After returning from the office, she doesn't neglect her responsibilities. She prepares meals and lovingly takes care of her husband and children. She treats her housemaids with care and dignity, and she extends a helping hand to the poor and needy. She ensures her children are tucked in comfortably at night, balancing work and family with grace like no other. Even while traveling, she stays focused, making sure both her family and business are well taken care of. Her husband and children honor her with words of love and gratitude.
God poured his blessings into her life, and through her, many others were blessed. Be encouraged, be inspired. Subscribe to Shanthi Edwin's channel and share this message with someone who needs hope today.